Santa Fe Tower, information Oscar 1553 Zulu weather. Wind 34014, visibility 10. Sky clear, temperature -1, dew point -11, altimeter 3032. Visual approach in use, landing departing runway 33. Clearance delivery and ground control are combined on tower frequency 119.5. For taxi instructions or clearance, contact the tower 119.5 and advise you have information Oscar.
Okay.
Santa Fe Tower, information Oscar 1553 Zulu weather. Wind 3.
So we're going to call tower. We're going to get runway 33, and it's likely to be a right turnout, or excuse me, a left turnout to the practice area.
Santa Fe ground, good morning. Remos 28 Golf X-ray, North Hangars, request taxi for departure to the southwest practice area with Oscar.
Experimental 309er, runway 33, wind 34011, cleared for takeoff. Remos 28 Golf X-ray, Santa Fe ground, good morning. Runway 33, taxi via Alpha Charlie, cross runway 28.
Taxi Alpha Charlie, cross 28 for 28 Golf X-ray, good morning.
So we're going to take the scenic route. Brakes work. This is the run-up area. Want to run up so that we are facing roughly into the wind, which there we are. Straighten out the nose wheel. Set the brake. And let's go ahead and do our run-up. Parking brake is set. Flight controls free and correct. We checked this on the pre-flight. We're also checking them again now. Aileron control is positive, bringing the elevator back. I can see the shadow off the sun that our elevator is moving. And our rudder was checked. I can see the change of the little glare off the sun to indicate that our rudder is moving as well. Trim, 2/3 up. We can go ahead and dial that in, a little bit more nose up trim for takeoff. Flaps, no need for flaps this morning. It's a nice cool morning. We've got a good headwind. No need for the flaps to help us get us off the ground. Fuel pump is on. Aircraft lights as needed. I tend to fly with the lights on. Doesn't really help anything. It's just more a mental thing than anything. Oil and CHT. Oil temperature is 131 degrees Fahrenheit, so it is warm enough for us to continue with our pre-flight and to take off. Cylinder head temperature is 160. That has to be a minimum of 120, so we're in good shape there. Oil pressure is in the green, 76 psi. Oil temp control is out. We do not need to block the intake in order to warm up the oil quicker. It's plenty warm for us already. And engine speed, 4,000 RPM. This is where we see how well I set the parking brake. RPM, going to do a mag check. Right. Left. Both. We're looking for about a 100 RPM drop-off when we change mags. We had about 100 to 125, which is right spot on with the parameters. And now we're going to check our carb heat. We're just looking for an increase in temperature. It went from 55 to 56 degrees Fahrenheit once we pulled out the carb heat. Once it gets to 57, that is good for me. It is at 57. Push carb heat in so we don't have it in for takeoff. And we're going to bring the RPMs back to about 2,000 RPM. Okay, we have a happy airplane. So the plan is to take off runway 33. We're going to depart to the southwest practice area, which will be a left turnout from 33. We're going to go ahead and do some turns, a little bit of slow flight, maybe show you a stall, and then we're going to return to the airport to do some pattern work before coming in for landing.
Santa Fe Tower, Remos 28 Golf X-ray, holding short 33, ready to go for the southwest practice area.
Remos 8 Golf X-ray, runway 331340 at 9 cleared for takeoff.
Cleared for takeoff 33 for 28 Golf X-ray, and can I do a left turn out to the practice area?
Left turn out approved.
Thank you much, 28 Golf X-ray.
Santa Fe ground, Skyhawk 5344 Foxtrot at the Air Center with Oscar, ready to taxi for takeoff, departing north.
Skyhawk 5344 Foxtrot, Santa Fe ground, runway 33, taxi via Alpha and Charlie, cross runway 28.
Okay, runway 33, let's commit aviation.
5344 Foxtrot, taxiing to 33 via Alpha and Charlie, crossing 28.
And just like that, we're in the air. The airport's slow, we can go ahead and do a left turn out now.
Remos 8 Golf X-ray, there is VFR traffic out to the west of this field. It looks like a Cessna high wing almost directly ahead of you. Northbound, relatively low level. Doesn't look like there'll be a factor for you.
All right, we'll keep an eye out. Thanks for the heads up, 8 Golf X-ray.
You're very welcome. Now they'll be off your right side here momentarily, about 3 miles out to the west.
And I have that traffic in sight, 8 Golf X-ray.
Roger.
Climbing through 7,000 feet right now, roughly 600, 700 feet AGL. We're going to go up to 8,500 AGL, which by the time we get over the practice area, we will be south of the escarpment in La Bajada. So that puts us at about 3,000 feet above Santo Domingo Pueblo. Everything's in the green. We're looking good. We have a happy airplane. Happy pilot. Practice area. Explain what an aerodynamic stall is. Whenever you hear about any aviation report and they talk about an airplane stalling, most people automatically assume that that means that the engine stalls. Well, it is possible for the engine to stall and for the engine to quit. Then you have an engine out situation and you have to plan on emergency landing somewhere because you are not going to plummet from the sky, but you do need to land. When you're talking about an aerodynamic stall, that's essentially meaning that the smooth airflow that's flowing over our wings right now in order to keep us in the air, you're talking about disrupting that airflow. That airflow becomes turbulent, it no longer adheres to the wing cleanly, and once that happens, the wing starts to lose lift, and if it loses enough lift, then that's an aerodynamic stall. And that becomes a situation that can develop into something much more serious, especially when you're much lower to the ground than we will be. The most common incident with a stall situation that presents a problem for pilots and results in accidents is when you have a situation where you are stalling as you're turning in the traffic pattern, typically with a base to final turn. The airplane loses lift, you are in a turn. Unfortunately, in that kind of situation, unless you immediately acknowledge that you're beginning to stall, you can develop into a spin, and a spin is a dangerous situation, and it is something that if you are not prepared for and you do not compensate for immediately, especially when you're low to the ground, that becomes a very dangerous and potentially deadly situation. So this is why we practice stalls. We want to make sure that we understand how the aircraft behaves when it's approaching its limits to stay flying, and we want to make sure that we compensate for that we're able to adjust for that, we recognize the signs, and we know how to recover from a stall. The Remos and most training aircraft are very benign in a forward power off stall, which is what we'll be demonstrating this morning. What that means is when it gets below a certain airspeed, and actually we're talking about angle of attack of the wing relative to the ambient air, but that's a little technical for our discussion this morning. So we're going to be focusing primarily on airspeed. When we slow down, and we slow down to the point that the airplane can no longer fly, you feel a very slight bump come over the control stick and the rudder. That's letting you know that that air is turbulent and you are approaching the limits of flight, and the airplane is not happy in its current configuration. Believe it or not, if you keep the airplane at roughly that attitude and at that airspeed, the plane will continue flying just fine. It's not necessarily going to be happy about it. You're going to be flying with a decided nose-up attitude in order to maintain your altitude with relatively slow airspeed, but the airplane will still be flying, and as a matter of fact, it's in that configuration that we land. So obviously we do need to be able to slow down the airplane to the point where it is just barely flying, and typically that is right before the wheels touch down on the runway. So we'll go ahead and demonstrate slow flight as well, and basically when we're talking about slow flight, right now we're cruising at about 80 knots indicated with the wind. That's about 73 knots over the ground, and we're going to talk about slowing down the airplane to between 45 and 50 knots. That is slow flight. First, we'll make sure that we are over the escarpment. You can't really see it right now, but we are directly over La Bajada right now. The highway is off to our left. Cochiti Lake is off to the right. We will see that when we start turning in order to practice stall. And we are at about 8,400 feet. I want to get us up to 8.5, so we're going to increase power a little bit and just do a very shallow cruise climb.
Santa Fe Tower, Skyhawk 5344 Foxtrot at 33, ready for takeoff.
Skyhawk 44 Foxtrot, runway 33, wind 35011, cleared for takeoff.
Cleared for takeoff, 53444 Fox.
And we're at 8,500 feet. We're leveling off. Going to trim it out a little bit so it maintains 8,500 feet with just very minimal control inputs. And I'm going to go ahead and just do a very nice turn to the right. That is a 30-degree turn. Typically the attitude that we are at the airport, we're in the traffic pattern. Now you can see to our immediately ahead.
Yeah, 3504 Papa, Sierra Aviation, request taxi. I'll be headed to the southwest, little sightseeing with information, Oscar.
Skyhawk 04 Papa, runway 33, taxi via Alpha and Charlie, cross runway 28.
Runway 33, taxi via Alpha Charlie, cross runway 28, 04 Papa.
Good morning. Good morning, clearance. FlexJet 444's Oscar to Toluca.
Okay.
FlexJet 444 Santa Fe Tower, you cleared to Mike Tango Oscar Airport. Via the Tavoy 2 departure, Anton Chico transition, then as filed. Initial altitude will be issued at the runway. Expect flight level 45010 minutes after departure. Departure frequency Albuquerque Center 132.8. Squawk 1637.
I'm sorry, could you say that departure procedure again?
Yes, sir. It's Tavoy 2 departure, Alpha Charlie Hotel transition.
Okay, Tavoy 2, Alpha Charlie Hotel transition as filed. We'll expect 450 in 10 minutes. We'll get the initial altitude at the runway. 132.8, squawking 1637, FlexJet 444 with Oscar at the Air Center.
FlexJet 444, read that correct.
All right, now they were getting their clearance. I went ahead and slowed us down into slow flight. We have full flaps out right now. I have throttle in to about 4,400 RPM, and we are doing 45 knots over the ground. Now, at this attitude, you'll notice we have a decided nose-up pitch, and basically, we are flying. We're actually climbing slightly, which we shouldn't be doing, so I can reduce the power just a little bit more. And this is the attitude that typically leads to a stall if you're not careful, because we are right at the control edge where the airplane is continuing to fly. But we don't have nearly as much of an envelope as we did before when we were cruising at 80 knots. Right now we're cruising at 45 knots. We are continuing to fly. We're doing very well. We're not having any problem whatsoever with maintaining altitude. So we're going to go ahead and bring the power back a little bit.
Stall, stall, stall.
And there's the bump. We bring power in, we kick up the flaps. And as simple as that. And already we're back at 65 knots, our flaps are in, and we are flying completely normally. That is a stall. That is how benign a stall is. Now when you're in the airplane, you do feel a sense of kind of coming out from underneath you. It's very similar to cresting the top of a roller coaster. And basically, it's still very, very benign. And as long as you know what to expect and you know what you're looking for, it's nothing to worry about. And that is the most potentially dangerous situation that you will typically find in an airplane, is when you're operating near the stall envelope. Sun visors are a godsend on mornings like this. And we're going to go ahead and do slow flight again. I'm going to go ahead and bring the throttle back. We're at 80 knots right now. We're slowing down. Once it gets to 75, I'm going to start kicking in some flaps. There's our 45 knots. Completely fine. No danger whatsoever. Airplane is completely happy to fly. No, wouldn't say it's completely happy to fly because it is protesting through the stick that the nose is so high and the air is a little bit turbulent. However, we are maintaining level altitude right now, right at 8,500 feet. Completely happy. I'm not going to keep it like that though because no need. So we're going to go ahead and lower the nose. I'm going to bring flaps up. Increase power. And we start flying just like that. We're at 65 knots.